Statement of clarity and discernment. This story is governed by the truth that God is holy, righteous, and perfect in all his ways, never changing in his nature or character. It does not attempt to soften holiness, redefine righteousness, or portray God as adaptable to human preference. Instead, it acknowledges that God's unchanging nature is the standard by which all things are measured. Discernment is exercised by allowing Scripture to define holiness, not emotion, culture, or circumstance. This narrative submits to the truth that God does not evolve, and that human understanding must yield to his perfection. Introduction. This story continues to reveal moments where human assumptions are confronted by the unaltered nature of God. These stories explore the tension between a world that shifts constantly and a God who does not change at all. They are not written to accuse, but to illuminate, showing that discomfort often arises not from God's absence, but from his holiness drawing near. Each account bears witness to the reality that righteousness is not flexible, and perfection is not negotiable. The full story. She had always believed that goodness was relative. What mattered most, she thought, was intention. If a person meant well, then flaws could be excused, and standards adjusted. She believed morality grew with society, changing as humanity learned and matured. A perfect standard, in her mind, was impossible, and certainly unreasonable. She believed God, if he existed, must change as well. Surely a loving God would adapt, soften expectations, and understand human weakness. Anything else felt harsh, outdated, and incompatible with modern compassion. Her assumptions began to unravel when she encountered a simple command: "You shall be holy, for I the Lord your God am holy." There was no explanation attached, no accommodation offered. The statement did not ask permission, nor did it justify itself. It declared holiness is both God's nature and his expectation. She tried to reconcile it with her beliefs. Holiness felt unreachable, righteousness unrealistic, and perfection oppressive. Yet the words remained, unmoved by her objections. They did not bend to culture or time. Later she read, "For I the Lord do not change." The weight of it settled slowly. God's character was not shaped by generations, nor corrected by progress. What he was, he had always been. Holy then, holy now, holy forever. She realized that her discomfort was not with God's perfection, but with her own imperfection standing in its light. If God truly never changed, then the problem was not outdated standards, but a fallen heart seeking a moving line it could cross comfortably. She saw how often she measured righteousness against herself, comparing weaknesses to those of others to feel justified. But holiness did not compare itself to humanity. It stood apart, complete, untouched. For the first time, she understood that God's unchanging nature was not cruelty, but mercy. If righteousness shifted, there would be no justice. If holiness softened, truth would dissolve. If perfection compromised, goodness would lose meaning. God had not failed to meet humanity's standards. Humanity had failed to understand God's. In quiet reflection, she acknowledged that God was not becoming better, because he had never been lacking. He was not adjusting to the world, because the world was the one in need of change. She did not yet know how holiness would reshape her life, but she understood this: God's righteousness was not a burden imposed, but a truth revealed. He was holy whether she accepted it or not, righteous whether she approved or not, perfect whether the world agreed or not. And in recognizing that God does not change, she began to see that true transformation was never meant to happen in him, but in her.